So every YouTube video needs an intro. First, we need some epic music. Okay, maybe not that epic. Perfect. Now some contextual titles. Whoa! Strong font. Now rapid fire. Reviews, tech, photography, mobile innovation, gaming, and throw in lifestyle, because, you know, it's trending, but no one really knows what it means. And logo drop.
Yep, that works. Cut.
Hey everyone, this is Tristan from alttab.me, and today I'm bringing you a review of the Logitech G815 keyboard. This is a low profile mechanical keyboard. Now, why am I reviewing this keyboard? Because I am one of those rare people that absolutely loved the old Mac chiclet keyboards. They've discontinued those, and I've been searching for a long time now to find the perfect keyboard. This is the last of my Mac keyboards, and pretty much half of the keys don't work. You can see it's a mess. Like, this thing went through some hell. But I loved it. It had a good feel to it. All the keys felt really nice. There was nowhere to go, and it has a click to it. It's not mechanical, but it has that, you know, you get a little bit of feeling to it, which is nice. So I was hoping that mechanical keyboards, as they've advanced, could offer something similar. I've tried this one, I've tried that one, I've tried clicky, I've tried linear, I've tried Browns, I've tried all sorts of different keyboards, and I just couldn't find one that I liked. I was finding that a lot of the keys were too big, the amount of pressure you had to put down was too much, and I would often stumble across the keyboard a lot. So I was looking at all the low profile mechanical keyboards out there, and up until now, there haven't been a lot of options up until now. And that is where the G815 mechanical keyboard from Logitech comes in. So as you can see right out of the box, this thing is just absolutely gorgeous. It is really low profile compared to what I've seen out there, and I'm glad that low profile mechanical keyboards are starting to take off for people like me who like to have less travel, smaller keys, and a smaller profile keyboard. Although this is a full-size keyboard, so it's a little bigger than what some people might like, but I actually like full-size keyboards because I use this a lot. If anything, I could get rid of this because I don't do macros, but this is kind of handy in some games. It's got two settings on the back to lift it. You can do a small one like that, or you can do a larger one like that. You can just do it flat like this. The entire width of this thing is about that of an iPhone or 2/3 of a penny, which is insane. The keys have a very short distance to travel, which is great. All of them feel really solid. Nothing wiggles, nothing wobbles. They all have nice indentations, so you feel the keys. And overall, it's just a really nice presentation. I mean, the RGB on this thing alone is absolutely stunning. I could go into an entire video that just talks about the customizations through the RGB. I'll show you a little bit of it in a second, but I'll also give you a sound test for each keyboard. Right now, if you look at my desk, I'm actually using the linear, and I feel like that one is the best feeling for me. The tactile felt a little bit muddy. Some people like the Browns because of that click. I like the linear because it's instant up, whereas the Browns, it takes a little bit longer. And since they're low profile, I felt like you didn't need to have that like tactile click to it. You just needed to hit the bottom since it's so close to hitting the bottom. Now the clicky, I actually really like the sound of the clicky, and I like the feel of the clicky too. So I feel like I could go in between the linear or the clicky, which is weird because normally I would hate the clicky one because it's very loud, but this, because it's low profile, it doesn't really make that much noise, and the feeling just feels really nice to me. So I think at this point we should probably listen to what the keys sound like. I've been enjoying my typing on this. I'm back to my fast typing speed that I would get from my chiclet Apple keyboard. I know that sounds crazy. A lot of people don't like those keyboards, but I loved it. And when they discontinued it, I was like, oh my God, what do I do? And I looked at all these mechanical keyboards and I was like, oh, the keys are too high. My fingers would get caught on the sides of them and I couldn't get used to them. Now this is the first low profile keyboard that I've gotten used to and I absolutely freaking love it. It's like they made it for me specifically. I'm really happy about that. It has a ton of functions. It's got macro buttons. It's got different settings that you can set up here. It's got macro record. It has the ability to go into game mode, so it turns off certain buttons that you set. It has brightness adjustments, and it has a volume up and down, which will adjust your computer instantly, no lag. It's got fast forward, pause, play, mute, all that stuff. Really nice to have those functions. So why don't we jump into some of the RGB effects that you can do for the mechanical keyboard, because they're really awesome. This has got to be the coolest addition to the Logitech systems that I've seen in a long time. I think that they have a very good software here. So obviously you can see that I have the C920 camera from Logitech. I have the G502, and then here's the G815. Now check out all the different options here. So you've got your presets where it can do like a ripple effect. You can turn it off. You can do fixed lighting. You can go with cycle. You can go with a color wave where it's going to wave around. You can do breathing. You can set those colors. You can set them to anything you want anywhere. Like you could drag across anywhere. Like you want ugly ass orange. There you go. It can actually take a sample from your screen and match it to that, which is like, wow, that's really cool. You've got freestyle, which is awesome, where you can actually paint in where you want the keys to be. So for me, I made the WASD green. I made the left side purple so that I didn't confuse the control and the G5s. And then I made all the keys that weren't necessarily important, the teal, and then the important keys, the pink. And it helps if you look down real quick and you need a reference. And it's super simple. Like you can just go in here, pick red, for instance, and that's your brush. And say you want to fill a group and you go, okay, well, I want to fill up that entire thing as red. Or I want to go back to the pink, but you can go one at a time. You can select a bunch. Yeah, there's a lot of customization that can happen on here, and it's very helpful. Then you've got animations. Like it's just, there's so many different options here that this is its own video, right? So I think that is definitely the best part of this keyboard, because you have so many options to play with it and to really customize it to the way you want. And that's not even going into like key assignments yet. You can go into here and you can set up, these different keys. You can pick, the different profiles. So you have the M1 and M2 and M3s. You can, change what those profiles change things to. It is endless here. You have the keys, you have the actions, you have the macros, you have the system, you can do everything with this. And then you have game mode, where if you hit game mode, it'll turn off the Windows key and those extra keys, which is awesome. So, I mean, there's just a ton of stuff going on in here. If you want customization, this suite has it. Not only that, but it also plugs into your other things. And so you can match, all your colors with your mouse and stuff like that. As you can see, I have the same pink on the mouse as I have on my G815. So, yep, very cool software. Doesn't take up a lot of memory and runs very smooth. So for the pros on this keyboard, I would have to say that the low profile design works really well. The indents on all the keys are really nice. The feeling on the keys is really nice. The travel distance is just the right amount. And the feedback you get from the keyboard is definitely good. Some of the downsides of it is those macro keys on the left. I often get caught hitting the G key instead of the control key when I'm copying and pasting stuff or doing commands, and that's kind of annoying. I've actually color-coded my keyboard so that it gives me more of a visual idea of where my hand is if I do mess it up. So if it were up to me, I would completely get rid of the G keys on the left, because it's hard to get used to that, because usually you go all the way to the left to grab that control key. But on this, that's a G key. One of the things I think they can improve on is definitely the symbols on the number keys. They're not lit up, and while I get it because there's no like LED bleed from that at nighttime, I don't know where those all are by heart. Like I just don't. And so I'm often like squinting and leaning down trying to figure out, you know, where the hell is the @ key or where's the $ or stuff like that. I wish those were lit up as well. So in terms of looks, it's absolutely gorgeous. I think it looks fantastic. I think it's absolutely one of the better looking keyboards I've ever had. In terms of customizability, wow, man, the RGB and the macro keys and the media keys, it's got it all. In terms of feel, it's a personal preference, but man, I just love that low profile feeling. And I really like what Logitech's done with their different keys. To me, the clicky and the linear are my favorites. The tactile was just a little bit muddy for my liking. Now, the one thing that may turn some people off, but I think that it actually is justified, is the price. The non-wireless version is $200. The wireless version is $250. Now that sounds like a huge amount of money to pay for a mechanical keyboard, but if you think about it, it's a very unique keyboard that not a lot of companies are offering, the low profile keyboard, and they did it right. I think as more low profile keyboards come out, I think that price may drop a bit, and then, you know, it'll become more affordable to everyone. But for someone that's on the computer all the time, and the keyboard is one of the most important things to me, I can justify the $200 price tag. And I might even justify the $250 for the wireless, because I feel like the wireless has some benefits too, because it has a Bluetooth button and you can switch between your phone and wireless button to switch back to your computer on the fly. If somebody's texting me a lot and I could just quickly swap over to my keyboard and text back like that, oh, that'd be a godsend. Overall, I just think Logitech kind of knocked it out of the park with this keyboard. It looks beautiful, it feels really nice, the low profile is spot on, and they really just found that niche that needed to be filled with mechanical keyboards. It really comes down to feel on these keyboards, so if you can try these out or you can go somewhere and you can test it out, I'd suggest that and see how it feels to you, and then you justify if it's worth the price to you. But for something that you're using so often and something that is so important and integral in our lives these days, which is computers, I think that the price is definitely worth it. Is it on the high end? Absolutely. But is it worth it for someone like me? Yes. Yeah, so if you like this video, please feel free to leave a like. You can also leave a dislike. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below. Subscribe and hit that little bell notification if you haven't already. And I will see you all in the next video.